Hello everyone, welcome to another Fight of the Night review. I did say that things would look a little bit different for the time being. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but yeah, got a Fight of the Night to review. It was last night at the Apex, and it was between Charles Johnson and Azat Maxim, I think his name is. So yeah, we're going to go through it round by round. We have all three to go over. So yeah, it was on the prelims as well of the Apex. So yeah, let's go. We begin with round one, and Maxim starts with a good left hook. Charles goes for a takedown, but Azat defends. Charles throws some shots, but gets knocked down by a quick right, and Azat jumps on the guillotine, which he tried to turn into a Dar/Anaconda. Charles manages to get to a sprawl and break away. They both throw kicks and feel each other out with feints, and Charles ducks and punches with a nice head movement, but Azat lands another left and a knee to follow as Charles backs himself to the cage. Azat lands another hard left and a knee, but Charles recovers easily and takes the center of the cage again. Charles manages to land a left, but he eats one from Azat, who tries to turn it into a submission, but Charles escapes. Charles throws a leg kick, but immediately covers up as Azat has been countering it really well up until this point in the round, and Charles starts to block and closes in for a clinch to push Azat against the cage, landing some body shots to Azat as he escapes it. Azat goes for a single leg takedown, but Charles defends nicely and lands a knee on the way out, and he lands another leg kick, but is using movement to keep away from Azat's shots, even landing front kick to the body, before Azat gets a brief takedown shortly to close out the round. I'm giving round one to Azat. He was just more on point for me. His counters were really well set up. He countered quite nicely. He countered Charles' leg kick quite nicely with the sharp right. It was more like straight down the pipe too. It wasn't overlooping hooks. And yeah, he was just defending himself really well and attacking really well too. Charles did get some good stuff off, like his takedown attempts were pretty solid, and he did throw a good combo near the start of the round, but round one, I mean, Azat just had more control, better striking, really good clinch, and managed to get a takedown over Charles, who usually has really good takedown defense, so I give round one to Azat. We then get to round two, and Azat starts by countering a leg kick from Charles and opens up with a good combo to push Charles to the cage, but Charles manages to get back to the centre, and he even lands a left, but eats a big left from Azat in return. Charles does land a nice uppercut going to the body as well, but eating with the right, but he lands a big left and gets a takedown and goes for the back. Charles stays toe on it and goes for a rear naked choke as he starts to slip from the angle, but he goes for an armbar as Azat takes the backside position before rolling to take Charles back. Azat attempts a bulldog choke, but Charles slips out easily and they get back up in the middle of the octagon. Azat takes some pot shots now and then. Charles lands a knee but slips, but he gets back up easily after. Charles lands another leg kick, but as he backs away, Azat goes for a knee, only to slip briefly and needed a couple of punches as he gets back up. Charles keeps evading shots, but Azat clinches Charles to the cage. Charles escapes, goes for another takedown, but doesn't really get anything out of it, and they throw a few strikes as the round ends. So round two was pretty close. I do still give it slightly in favour to Azat because I just think he did more damage, and even though he was taken down and Charles was starting to put his stuff together near the end of the round, I really think Azat took the early goings, and I think Azat did do enough to win the round. He was just striking a bit better. He was starting to hit a few more shots, and he was falling more victim to the leg kick, which is weird because he was able to counter it so readily in round one, and he didn't really do that as much in round two. But I still think Azat did manage to do enough to win round two, although Charles was really starting to put his shit together a lot better than he was in round one. We then get to the third and final round. Azat starts by going for a left and needs a body kick, but he lands a punch which wobbles Charles for a moment before a leg kick stumbles Azat more accurately. There is a bit of a dip in the action at this point, but Charles lands to the body and then to the head, and he defends another takedown before Azat pushes him to the cage, attempting to push away before Azat gets the takedown. They both stand and Azat has the back, but Charles gets out of it and they get back to the middle of the cage. Charles eats some shots, including another knee, but he lands a good kick as well, even laying some really nice boxing. Azat lands a few more good punches, throwing a sharp right that lands each time he throws it. Charles does land some good punches and another head kick, throwing his combos together well and even landing nice leg kicks and even more sharp counters. Azat goes for another takedown and pushes Charles to the cage, but he gets caught in a nasty guillotine, which he manages to escape despite it looking like he was going out. He actually looked like he was going limp for a moment, and he eats some punches from the clinch as he backs away from Charles. Charles puts his boxing together more and throwing more combos with it, obviously eating a shot but laying some really good kicks, soon ducking for a double leg and getting them out to land some punches before the round and the fight ends. I'm giving round three to Charles. I think this is probably the closest round and maybe the best round of the entire fight because the momentum that Charles started together near the end of round two, he was putting to much better effect in round three. He was still eating some nasty stuff, but yeah, I think he did do enough to win the round, but we have to get to the results, and yeah, let's talk about it. So the result would be Charles winning by unanimous decision, and I'm not entirely sure if I fully agree with that. I don't think he won round one at all, and I think he, in some people's eyes, he probably did enough to win round two. I just don't think he did enough to win round two. He did do just about enough to win round three, I would say. It honestly could have gone either way. If this were a full 5-round main event, I think Charles probably could have won those last two rounds and maybe pinched it, and you can make like round 3 the argument because it would be the closest one. I think it goes to Azat via split decision, but Charles gets the win, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it was a good fight. I will admit it was a lot better than Dreykus versus Strickland. It's still not going to be in my top 10. Not even because it was an Apex fight or even an early prelim Apex fight. It just wasn't as close as I was expecting it to be. Still a really good fight though. I recommend you check it out. Just really good Apex battling. You know, solid all around. Really good wrestling in this match too, especially a takedown defense, especially from Charles. It was really goddamn good. So yeah, that'll about do it though. The next thing I'll hopefully see you for might hopefully be Music of the Week on Thursday, because again we're still like moving shit around, and then after that. I don't know if I'm going to get reaction done on Friday, but one thing I am going to get done on Friday is Cutting Edge. The entire card is all... Well, the card isn't set up with the arena I made last week, so yeah, happy with that. So I'll see you all on Friday for that if you watch my Twitch, and if you don't, fair enough, you probably have better things to do with your time. But I'll see you all on Thursday and Friday, and as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.